The first transmission was laughter. Harsh, guttural, rasping. The laughter of beings that had never known defeat. When the Korth Dominion fleet arrived in orbit over Deliverance Colony, they didn't bother with ultimatums. They didn't ask for surrender. They merely broadcast one message across all channels, a chorus of metallic voices echoing through the void. By decree of the Korth Dominion, humanity's expansion ends here. You are an infestation that forgets its place. Prepare for cleansing. Then came the Fire.Deliverance, a quiet agricultural colony at the rim of the Orion Arm, was home to 70,000 civilians, farmers, scientists, families who believed war was behind them. The Korth burned it all in an hour. The orbital defense grid was crushed beneath tungsten lances. Ground-based shields shattered like glass beneath plasma bombardment. The colony's surface, green fields and oceans, turned into molten glass under the fury of alien cannons. The Korth flagship, Dominion's Wrath, recorded the screams of the survivors as entertainment. Commanders bragged about their efficiency. A pest control operation complete in under a rotation. When the transmission ended, the last human distress beacon sent a whisper before being silenced. Deliverance is gone. The feast of arrogance in the aftermath? The Korth celebrated. Their fleets gathered in orbit around their citadel world, Thesk Prime. 100 warlords convened in shimmering halls of black metal, their carapaced bodies glistening beneath crimson light. Hollow displays replayed the destruction of Deliverance from every angle. Laughter filled the air again. That grating, rasping mockery of life extinguished. Pathetic species, hissed Warlord Ziran of the 7th Fleet. They breed across the stars like vermin, yet crumble at the first blow. Let this be the lesson for the galaxy. The age of human arrogance is over. Another warlord raised a goblet of crimson ichor. And their allies? Frightened, silent, Ziran sneered. The Galactic Council protests, but none will move. No one dares to challenge the Dominion. Around them, alien envoys and mercenary lords nodded in agreement. The Korth had ruled for centuries. Their fleets spanned 100 worlds. To them, humanity's fall was a foregone conclusion. An echo of a forgotten age, when Earth dared to defy the stars. The Council's emissaries begged for restraint, for diplomacy. The Korth executed them live on broadcast, and when a Terran envoy, an unarmed diplomat named Alana Ruiz, dared to confront them in open session, she was torn apart before the cameras. The Korth warlord Ziran looked into the lens, his mandibles clicking in cruel delight. Tell Earth that her children die for her pride. He didn't know that her transmission made it home. He didn't know that, across the Sol system, silence fell. Not mourning, not fear, but silence. The kind that comes before a storm. The quiet, before thunder for 37 hours. No transmission came from Earth, no response, no demand for justice. The galaxy took it as confirmation. Humanity had finally been broken. On the 4th day, the Korth fleets resumed their campaigns. They struck at human outposts along the Perseus Arm. Small way stations, trade hubs, mining colonies. Each fell within hours. In their arrogance, they broadcast their victories across the galactic network. The Terran experiment is over, their admirals declared. Their worlds are ashes, their fleets scattered. But others were watching. The Taval, the Varish, the Joran Confederacy. All species that once fought beside humanity noticed the silence not as weakness, but as something else. Earth's silence was never empty. Whispers spread. Ships on the fringe reported ghost signals, encrypted human frequencies reactivating after decades of dormancy. Satellite arrays turned toward Sol found their sensors blinded by sudden bursts of activity. Something vast was moving in the dark. A Korth scout near the Oort line transmitted one final report before vanishing. Mass readings. Impossible. Dozens, no hundreds of static then nothing. The Korth dismissed it as malfunction. But by then, Earth had already spoken her answer. Not in words, but in action. When the sky broke, the first sign came at Dravish Station, a Korth military outpost guarding the Orion corridor. At precisely 0200 local time, their outer perimeter sensors detected micro-jump signatures, hundreds of them, surrounding the system like a tightening noose. Before any order could be given, the stars went dark. The humans didn't arrive with fanfare or warnings. They came cloaked in the void, black hulls absorbing light, silent engines ghosting through the dark. The first salvo came from beyond sensor range. Projectiles faster than thought tore through the Korth defense platforms. Kinetic rods, tungsten, depleted uranium, mass-driven slugs, hit with the force of small suns. Shields collapsed, stations ruptured. Thousands died before the first human ship was ever seen. Then the humans decloaked. The UNS Retribution, leading a fleet of 200 dreadnoughts. Each hull bore the insignia of the United Terran Navy, a symbol thought retired after centuries of peace. Their commander's voice cut through all frequencies. Cold and absolute. This is Admiral Sophia Wren of Earth Command. By decree of the Terran Accord, the Korth Dominion is hereby designated a hostile civilization. No quarter will be given. The message spread through the network like wildfire. The galaxy trembled. The Korth warlords laughed again. At first, "They've sent an antique fleet," they scoffed. "We will grind them as we did their colonies." Their laughter lasted 8 minutes. The battle lasted 11. When it ended, Dravash Station was gone. Vaporized. Not captured. Not crippled. Gone. A sphere of molten debris drifted where it once stood. Humanity had spoken. The fire that spanned stars within days. Every frontier world of the Korth Dominion was under attack. Terran battle groups, each named for the colonies lost, emerged from slipspace with surgical precision. Deliverance Group, Ruiz Wing, Orion Hammer. Their weapons defied known technology. Orbital lances carved through entire fleets in minutes. Swarm drones hunted down escape pods, erasing any trace of survivors. EMP waves disabled planetary grids before the first ground troops even landed, and those troops, the legions of Earth, moved with machine precision. Clad in grav armor, carrying rail cannons that split tanks open like fruit, they descended in waves of fire. Cities burned. Planetary garrisons surrendered, begging for mercy. The humans gave none. One recording survived from the world of Tekresh, captured by a fleeing Korth civilian. They came from the clouds, like storms of iron. Every drop that hit the ground was a soldier. The air turned to fire. Our warlord tried to surrender. They didn't answer. They just kept walking. For every colony burned, 10 Korth worlds fell. For every human life taken, 1,000,000 of theirs ended. And all across the stars, the same phrase began to echo in fearful whispers. The Terrans are coming. The fall of Thesk Prime. By the time humanity's armadas reached Thesk Prime, the heart of the Dominion, the Korth knew what awaited them. Still, pride drove them to fight. 50,000 warships ringed their homeworld. Planetary shields rose, glowing crimson across the surface. Every citizen was armed. Every defense activated. When the Terran fleet arrived, they didn't decloak immediately. Instead, they surrounded the system, blocking every jump route, every path of escape. Then, in perfect synchronization, the human dreadnoughts appeared. A black halo around the star. No transmissions, no warnings, only silence. And then, light. The first volley of human supermass drivers struck the planetary shields with the force of divine judgment. The shields flared, held, then shattered like glass. Atmospheric fires erupted across continents. Korth ships swarmed in desperation, only to be annihilated by precision railfire. The Dominion's high command broadcast one last message. "We will not yield to apes. The Korth will—" Their signal dissolved into static as UNS Retribution fired its primary weapon, a relativistic spear of molten metal that split the planet's crust in half. Observers across nearby systems reported the sight, a world breaking apart, its molten core spilling into space like blood from a wound. When the fires dimmed, Thesk Prime was gone, and with it, the Korth Dominion ceased to exist. Echoes in the void when it was over. Humanity did not celebrate. There were no parades, no victory speeches. Admiral Wren stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the dying light of Thesk Prime fade into the dark. Her orders were simple and final. No broadcasts, no declarations. Let the silence speak for us. Across the galaxy, that silence screamed louder than any war cry. Species that once mocked humanity's fragile peace now trembled at their restraint and their wrath. The Galactic Council convened an emergency summit, declaring a new code. Provocation of Terran interests shall be considered an act of mutual suicide. Among the survivors, refugees, traitors, even former Korth soldiers, tales spread like religion. They spoke of ships that moved like shadows, of humans who fought without anger, without joy, only purpose. They whispered of the colony called Deliverance, of the name carved into every Terran ship's hull. They said that every shot fired was vengeance, not for conquest, not for glory, but for justice. And they whispered a phrase that would haunt the stars for generations. The invaders declared our doom, and spoke their own. The weight of vengeance years later. Explorers would visit the ruins of the Korth homeworld. They found nothing but ash, no bodies, no monuments, only a single probe, floating above the broken surface. A human device, broadcasting a repeating message in every known language.